Morning everybody, hope you're having a fantastic day and welcome back to my homestead. We are just about to get a couple days of freezing. The cold is coming, it's here. Well, not right this second, but in about T-minus 6 hours it's going to start dropping, and we're going to get the garden ready today. Actually, we're going to get the whole homestead ready. So we're going to do a couple things, and I just want to show you guys basically how I get ready for not just a freeze, but now it's going to be a repetitive freeze. We're going to get 3 nights of freezing and fairly low temperatures for our area, which is zone 8B in North Carolina. You can see our garden is fairly full at the moment, and I'm not overly concerned, but if I didn't do anything to get ready, I would just be remiss, and if something happened, it would be basically my fault, and I don't want it to be my fault. I don't know about you, but I'd rather it be somebody else's fault, wouldn't you? Like nature or something like that. So I'm gonna do everything in my ability to do it. We're gonna put up a low tunnel today. We're going to, well, we're not going to install a low tunnel, I'll get into that. We're gonna button up the greenhouse. I've got to just do something very light to the bees to get them ready. And then just basically overall look, and we'll see what's gonna fare well. We're looking at 32 tonight, 29 the next night, and I believe 31 or 27, I can't remember. But I know in my area, whatever they forecast, we generally get lower. So I'm expecting 3 nights of the 20s, which can be a lot. And so there's a couple things that we are concerned about, but we're not gonna overly just beat ourselves up over it. But we're gonna do the best to our ability. My hand's full, but we're gonna put this low tunnel up here, and this is gonna be a little bit different because it's a smaller garden bed, and I'll show you everything I got here in just a second. So I got my little mallet. You can use a hammer, whatever you want. I've got 2-foot rebar stakes. These are 3/8 inch, and then I've got 3 1/2-inch pipes cut to the proper length. I was a little bummed out when I did the last garden bed. I didn't have to cut any pipes. That's a 4x8 garden bed, and this one I believe is a 3x6. So I went to the store today. The price of rebar had gone up, cut rebar at 2 foot, that is, and the pipes that they sold the PVC pipes, they were simply 10 foot. So no matter what, I'd have to cut them now, which is kind of a pain because now I've got waste. I don't have anything to do with the 2-foot section, but that's all right. And this garden bed here that we're gonna do, so this is our spinach bed, and we've got a couple carrots in there. The spinach is just really, we got a couple days of rain, and now it's coming up all down the line. And spinach is a really hardy plant, but it's just coming up, so it's super tender right now. So we're gonna try and keep this frost off of it. There's not but so much I can do, but I do think this is gonna make all the difference in the world, because remember a couple videos ago, and I'll link to it at the end, it's all about the recovery time. That's really what this is about. So we wanna make sure that we get this to proper recovery time, and this low tunnel is gonna help it. Now I do have this potato that's coming up, and I do not want this in my garden. So let me get this out of here. Let's see if we can get it. Actually, I don't even want to pull it because right next to it is some spinach. So we'll just leave that, and then let's build. So like I said, the last bed was 4x8 that we did, and we did 3 pipes, 3 braces going across. And I think this time, because this bed is 6 foot, we're going to do 2 braces. I think that's going to work pretty good because we don't get a lot of snow or anything like that. And so what I'll do is I'm going to take this, and instead of putting it right here in the very edge, I'm just going to put it in a little bit, because if I put in 4 inches here on the inside, 4 inches over there on the inside, then that's 8 inches to have the braces closer. And these plants aren't going to get very tall, especially on the edge, so I'm not overly concerned about it. And here we don't have to keep these up all year, so we're not too concerned about it. And this mallet is overkill, but damn if it doesn't make it easy to go in. And we want to leave I probably left about 6 inches sticking out. And so that'll give enough for the pipe to slide over to brace the arches to hold for everything. All right, now that we got the 4 braces in for this bed, all we're gonna do is slide this down and then bend this over. The first time you bend it is a little bit tricky, but hopefully, and I do think I may end up having to cut it again. I don't know. Looks like it's going to be a pretty hard bend. I'm going to keep going though, see if it cracks. Nope. Wow. And so I want to do this while the sun's out, so that it'll get this natural bend. It'll heat up the pipe and put the bend in it, and then it should be easier on the pipe. This is a little tall, but I wanted to say I didn't want to cut this too short, because I don't know if I'm going to use this on this bed every time, and then I can take this 8-foot pipe and use it like on this bed next time and just buy one more. So I didn't really want to just kind of mess with that too much. I want to leave some flexibility there, and that should help. And so we'll put up the second one. So you can see here we've got, it's a pretty tall arch and it's pretty steep, but I think it'll work. I mean, for our area, we're not super concerned about it. You know, the frost doesn't come and go, and all this, or comes and goes, it doesn't just stay. And everything in here is very frost tolerant, but we just want to make sure that it gets up and running. So I think we're going to run with it here. We'll see how it goes. Not, you know, the pipes haven't popped off or anything, so that's good. And we don't get any heavy snow, so we shouldn't need a brace in the middle. And I mean, other than that, we'll put this on and then we take it off, on and off, on and off, so it's not like constantly on the bed. Very forgiving for us. You know, if you had something where you were getting snow or a lot of ice or anything like that on it, you could put another brace on top going across. You can put another pipe on, and then that would give it more rigidity. But we don't really need that. I've never had an issue with my other low tunnel, and didn't really want to set this up, but kind of is what it is. So we're gonna put the plastic sheeting on now, and I'll show you what I've got here. So I've got Frost King 6 mil. So it's 10 feet wide by 25 feet. And that actually works pretty good. I did a whole bed with this, still have plenty left to do. So once you do the initial investment, especially if you're not doing all of your beds, it's not that bad. So this bed is 6 feet. We need to account for the height on the ends to make sure that it covers, which looks like it's about 4 feet. So we're gonna end up cutting 12 to 14 feet of this. I have to kind of see how it goes. And then since it's 10 feet wide, it's just about perfect. It's a little bit long for this, but it's not the end of the world. All right, this thing is a son of a bitch, I can tell you that much. But we got it. We got her licked, ladies and gentlemen. So just gonna drape it over. But there's an important step that you need to see. And it makes all the difference in the world when trying to build one of these and making it more functionally easier for you to handle. First of all, I hope you can see, because I can't see a damn thing because of the sun. We want to get it down on the ground so we can bunch it up, so we can make it nice and sturdy in there. All right, so that's good. Now the key to this whole rig is this 6-foot pipe here that I'm gonna hook at the bottom so I can roll it up, and it's gonna do 2 things. One, it's gonna cause it to weight down, and 2, it's going to let me lift it up in air and vent this thing in the daytime when the sun comes back out. Because I'm sure as we speak, the temperature right now is probably rapidly rising inside. So once we get this in, everything's pretty straight. Doesn't have to be perfect. I got these clips here, these PVC clips. They're for 1/2-inch pipe. And they just clip on like that, and that's what's gonna hold the plastic to the pipe. You can get these on Amazon. I believe they're in the description and the Amazon link below. You can look along with other products that we use. So we're gonna try and roll all this up and get it in there, and you'll be able to see how it functions pretty good. I've got this rogue zinnia in here. It's killing me Smalls. I want to try and get it as even as possible. I don't know, you don't really have to, but I like to do so. And then I just give it like 4 good rolls. Never rolls up perfectly on one end, and that's quite all right. All right, so now we've got the seam that's nice and rolled up. And so we'll just clip this right there like that. And then you're just gonna have to trust me. We're gonna go all the way down to the other side and clip it. And so now this is weighted down. So what we'll do is we'll pull the whole thing back, and this will just end up hanging right here. Well, since you guys are helping me today, holler when you see it when you see that pipe start to hang. Make sure you holler loud now. And so see that pipe starting to hang a little bit? I can see it down there. And so we'll come back. Bada bing, bada boom. There we go. And all that's left to do is just weight the sides. Bunch everything up on the end, drop a weight there. Same on here, and then along the back. You've created a low tunnel, and it's that easy. We've got it covered now, and I've got it covered because the sun is just about to go around and put this in the shade. And so it's gonna start building up heat in there. And so that's just an added benefit. It's not necessary particularly, but over here, we've got our lettuce bed that we've been harvesting off of. And with just a couple days of freezing, and then it's gonna get back up in the 50s at night, we don't want it to go to waste. We'll cover this bed, but we're gonna cover it right before dark. Everything is good. These are all very established plants. So we're not really overly concerned about that. We're just kind of taking a precaution to keep things going. All of this bok choy is ready to be harvested, but we're just kind of leaving it until. So we want to leave that in the ground, and the cover is gonna let it happen. Here, this bok choy, it may or may not make it, but again, we've got plenty. So I'm not overly concerned about it. And if this wind keeps up like it is, it's gonna keep the frost off of it. We're not worried about our cabbages. We're not worried about our kale. We're not worried about our Brussels sprouts. And we're not worried about our rutabagas. And then our radishes here in this pot, they're actually ready to go. But we're not overly concerned about that either, because we can just come out and get the root if we want. Now the greenhouse is a different story. We're not worried about the greenhouse, but we've got to take steps. And I'll show you the first cue to tell me that it's not quite ready. You see the windows closed? That means that it's not very hot in there. So we want to make sure that if the window's closed, the heat's coming in. Right now, the sun's just about to hit it for about 2 more hours. As you can see, it's just hitting me in the face. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and close it up. And then that's going to build up heat in those water tanks in the back. And then it can release it out overnight. So we're just going to leave that going. And now it's in there and it's generating heat. And I don't have my phone on me, but if I did, I would tell you the temperature, and it's going to start going up. Probably, let's see, 2, 3, 4, 5. For the next hour and a half, it'll go by. And I measured it finger widths. 2 finger widths, I believe, is 15 minutes. So it's about 2 hours roughly until it gets away from here, and then this all goes into shade. And then once that happens, we'll cover this one up, and then we'll call it good. So, and then as far as that goes, we will open everything back up tomorrow, probably around midday. Let the sun hit it, let it start to warm it up. And then once it warms up, we're gonna open up both low tunnels and the greenhouse to start venting. So the greenhouse is locked as tight as it can get right now, and then we'll vent it. And it'll vent itself if it needs to, but we're gonna help it along. And the same with everything else. We'll just take that front bar that I put on and then rest it on top of the hoops, and then that'll let it vent out. And then when we come back in the evening, boom, we just drop it down. So the first time to put up is kind of a pain, but then after that it's pretty easy. So now the bees, and I'm gonna try and do this without a suit, so we'll see. It's not very invasive, but I'll kind of explain to you what's going on in here. One or two things are about to happen. Everything's gonna go smooth or everything's gonna go terrible. So we'll see, but we're gonna put some insulation in here because, oh crap, that's gonna make it fun. Once I take this top off, you'll see what's going on. So we put this candy board in there, and see the bees are just in there munching on the candy. So we made all of this. And this is gonna do a couple things. One, it will keep it a little bit warmer, but more importantly, what it will do is it'll keep the heat from entering the hive, and then the reflective surface is going to keep it from going, it's going to keep it in that barrier so it won't let moisture build up. I'm gonna try and work and talk. So what the problem is they have to keep the hive around 90 degrees or something, which they do themselves, and that's going to create moisture in the cold, right? So we're going to try and help them along with that by giving them these barriers. I'll tell you, the bees are pissy too because the cold's coming. So let's look and see how many bees are on this candy board as we put in our little reflective deal. Not too bad, I do say so myself. They are munching away, aren't they? So we're just gonna lay that right, Shonda. And then put the top back on. And that's that. We're not gonna be messing with the bees too much more. They're gonna live their best life. All we're gonna do is make sure that they've got food and that they have moisture control. That's it. We don't need to do anything for our chickens. They'll be fine. I've had chickens make it in negative degrees before when I lived in New England, so we're not concerned about them. We may have to break ice off their water because they're not in the sun, but other than that, that's good. And I would say, if you ask me, this garden is ready for our first repetitive freeze of 2023 in our brand new 8B zone, in which, by the way, we're gonna be coming super close to our lowest low that 8B has in November.